You might be booking your flights the wrong way and it can cost you thousands every year. Let me show you what I mean and how you can avoid this mistake. The mistake is not understanding your airline's cancellation policy, since that affects when and how you buy your flight to get the best deal. I'll walk you through how I book my flights and the reasoning behind it, so hopefully by the end of this video you can use the same tips to save on your flights. For this video, I'll use a real life example of a Delta flight that I needed to buy. So the first thing I did was go on Google Flights and look it up on there. For this one-way ticket, I saw that the basic economy price was $259, and for main cabin, it was $289. I ended up with the main cabin ticket, and the reason I chose that is because for Delta, if I had bought that basic economy ticket for $259 and I needed to cancel, they would charge me a $100 fee, and then I would only get back $159 as an eCredit. For a main cabin ticket, Delta doesn't charge a fee, so in my example, if I cancel my $289 flight, then I would get an eCredit for $289 that expires in 1 year. Another perk of the main cabin ticket is that if the price of your flight drops after you buy it, then you can actually get refunded the difference as an eCredit. I have a video explaining how that whole process works, so I'll leave a link in the description so you can check that out. Now that we talked about how main cabin tickets work, every time I think I might need a flight, I'll go ahead and book a main cabin ticket on Delta, so that way if I end up canceling, I'll get an eCredit anyway that lasts a whole year. So you want to make sure you don't forget to use these eCredits, but for me it's worth it, so I have that flexibility. Also, with a main cabin ticket, I don't have to hope that the price goes down. I can just go ahead and buy it, and if it does, then I can get the difference as an eCredit, and if the price goes up, then I'm good. If you need to be super flexible with your flights, then another way you can book your flights is actually with Delta Miles if you haven't. The reason I booked some Delta flights with Delta Miles is that the cancellation policy is really nice, and you can actually cancel up to the day before and get a full refund of your miles and taxes. So this is something you should consider if you need to be really flexible. I've done this for flights that I probably knew I was going to cancel, but I wanted to have something just in case. It's really easy to cancel on the Delta app, and you usually get all your points and taxes back in a couple of hours. If you end up booking your Delta flight with Delta Miles, make sure to keep an eye out on the cash price, because if that goes down, so will the point price, and you can get refunded the difference in terms of points just like you can with cash. Now that we talked about booking Delta flights with either cash or Delta Miles, the last thing I wanted to talk about was booking through partner airlines like Virgin Atlantic or Air France to get the best deal. If you haven't watched my other video on how to book cheap flights with your credit card points, then I'll leave a link in the description so you can check that out. But how this works is that you can book Delta flights through partner airlines like Air France or Virgin Atlantic to find a much better deal. So this is typically my first goal whenever I try to buy a flight, because this is how I save thousands of dollars every year. Once I know I need a flight, after I check the cash price on Google Flights, then I'll check Air France or Virgin Atlantic to see if I can buy the Delta flight there. Because you can't always find an available flight, the next thing I'll do is I'll use a website like Seats.aero to set an alert to let me know when a seat opens up, and if it does, then I'll go ahead and book it then. For example, on my most recent Delta flight, I saw that the main cabin ticket was $289. Then I checked Air France and Virgin Atlantic to see if I could book it there. I didn't see that available, so I went ahead and set an alert, and then I went back to the Delta website and bought it for $289, knowing that if I cancel it, I'd get back a $289 credit. Then, about a week later, I got a notification saying that the flight was available on Virgin Atlantic, so I went ahead and canceled my Delta flight and got back that $289 as an eCredit. Then I went on the Virgin website and booked that same exact flight for 7,500 points or $75. So that way I was able to save over $200 by doing this. Because booking through partner airlines is so much cheaper, this is why I always recommend setting up alerts on flights you know you're going to take just in case they do appear. Now that you know about these cancellation policies, you can start booking your flights earlier and make sure you have something, and you can always change it or cancel it if you need to in the future. For me, by knowing these policies, this has made buying flights a lot less stressful, so hopefully you can use some of these tips to save on your flights too. If you want to learn more about how to book cheap flights for your credit card points, then check out this video here.